In August of 1921, 10,000 armed men marched through the mountains of West Virginia. They were coal miners, and they were marching toward a war. The United States Army met them with bombers. The coal fields of southern West Virginia had been in a state of near-constant conflict for years before Blair Mountain. The miners lived in company towns, owned entirely by the coal operators, where they rented their housing from the company, bought their food from company stores at company prices, and were policed by private guards hired by the company. Organizing a union was a firing offense. Advocating for one could be a killing offense. The Baldwin Felts Detective Agency, employed by the operators, evicted union families from company housing at gunpoint, shot union organizers, and operated in the county with the full cooperation of local sheriffs. The immediate trigger for the march was the killing of Matewan's police chief, Sid Hatfield, himself a miners' ally, shot dead on courthouse steps by Baldwin Felts agents in August 1921. The miners of Kanawha and Boone counties had had enough. They armed themselves. Many were veterans of the First World War, experienced with rifles and tactical movement, and began marching south toward Logan County, where Sheriff Don Chaffin, an open ally of the operators, was waiting with a private army of his own. For 5 days, roughly 10,000 miners fought several thousand sheriff's deputies and mine guards in the wooded ridges around Blair Mountain. The miners wore red bandanas around their necks, earning themselves the name Rednecks, a term of solidarity that only later became a slur. They advanced in disciplined formations and were winning ground when the federal government intervened. President Warren Harding ordered in the United States Army and the National Guard. Military aircraft flew over the miners dropping tear gas bombs and, in at least some documented cases, explosive ordnance, making this the first time the American government used air power against its own civilian population. Faced with the U.S. Army, the miners surrendered. The aftermath was devastating for the Union movement. Several hundred miners were indicted for murder and treason. The United Mine Workers lost most of their members in West Virginia. Union organizing in the southern coal fields was effectively crushed for another decade, until the New Deal created the legal framework for collective bargaining. The Battle of Blair Mountain does not appear in most American history textbooks. It is not commemorated with monuments or holidays. 10,000 armed Americans fighting for the right to join a union, bombed by their own government in their own mountains, it is one of the most dramatic labor confrontations in the history of any democratic country, and it has been almost entirely erased.